There we go.
Okay.
I think we're live.
We are live. Greetings, weirdos, and welcome to another episode of We Are the Weirdos Book Club. I'm Brendan the Beldam.
Hello, I'm Heather.
And this fun stream is going to be middle grade March. This was Heather's idea, and she thought of a really fun idea. We are going to be talking about books from a blast from the past.
Mhm.
In this episode, we're going to be talking about Goosebumps.
Dun 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 dun.
Dun, 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 dun. Okay, so Heather and I were talking backstage, but for the people watching, Heather, how have you been?
I have been wonderful. Thank you. How have you been?
I think I've been all right. Just 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 working, keeping busy.
That's good.
I finally finished a book last night. I spent most of March. Well, actually, not all of March. I spent a weekend catching up on all of these Goosebumps books.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say that March was a pretty decent reading month. And what about you?
I think mine was okay. I have to look back and see if I had any 5 stars. Mine was very middle of the road. I gave out a lot of 3 stars. I'll have to see which ones I actually read the end of February, beginning of March, but mine was okay.
Did you have a particular favorite book that you read?
Oh man. I'm trying to finish up a lot of series that I've started. I made a list of how many series I'm in the middle of. And I really have enjoyed it's a YA series by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. It's called The Naturals, which is like YA Criminal Minds. And I read the first 2 in those, and they were great. I gave both of those 4.5s. So I'm about to start the third one. And then, yeah, that's the only thing that pops into my head that's been my favorite this month. How about you?
Uh, I gotta grab my phone to see
I know. I
what.
was like, my books
I,
are in
was,
the other room,
I
but
know. I gotta grab my phone to see what I logged in for March. So professional.
I know. I was like, oh no, I thought I was prepared this time. Yeah, I'm finishing up series. So that was one. What did we read? I was like, oh, The Thief of Always. I loved that one. I did give that a 5 star by Clive Barker, for Kayla and Haley's book club. Yeah, so that was the ones that I read.
Sorry, I got the tail end of that. I know I saw your I follow you on Goodreads. I'm your friend on Goodreads, so I know what you're reading.
Yeah, that's okay. I was gonna say I've been reading a lot of like skinnier, shorter books, some novellas.
And plus, you read a lot faster than I do.
Well, I read smaller ones that are on Kindle Unlimited, and if I have the audiobook with it, I'm able to read it faster. So, oh my gosh, that's what I did. I did have a 1 star supplication. Holy moly. I blocked it from my mind. My first
I
1 star of the year.
uh, I didn't even finish it. I,
Oh.
I will. I don't know. I probably will keep it just to see if I end up reading it or not.
Mm-hmm.
but I don't I don't know what to say about this one. I just didn't really care for like the writing of it. It was
Yeah.
just very there's no dialogue in it.
Yep. Hmm.
It's all just this it's all just like this action. It's the best way I could describe it.
Yeah.
It's all descriptions and action, but I didn't finish it, and I talked to Vicky about it, and she said that she wasn't a fan of it either.
I don't think anyone, I went back and watched the stream because after I read it, even though I actually actively tried to annotate and highlight and take notes, because it's such a fever dream and it's not even
Mhm.
like a stream of consciousness because I've read American Psycho, so I kind of understood that okay, it's going to be dense, it's going to be an unreliable narrator, but it
Mhm.
was so hard to follow, and then I had
Yeah.
questions. I didn't know what was real, what wasn't real. There's a very niche person that that book is for, and it was
Mhm.
not me.
Yeah.
It was not me. I tried. I did finish it by sheer will and stubbornness. But yeah, I'll be donating that one if anyone wants an annotated copy.
Sorry, I'm just looking at what I read in March.
Yeah, what else? What good stuff did you read?
Uh, do, 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 do. Hmm. Mostly like I've mostly just been updating stuff that I forgot to
Hmm.
log in, but let's see. I read The Fear Zone by K.P. Alexander,
Okay.
which is described as a middle grade version of it.
That's the one with the clown. Okay.
Yeah,
And the balloon on the front.
yeah.
Okay.
I really I liked it. I thought it was I thought it was really fun. I could see the
Okay.
compare. People said it was the like people the reviewers on Goodreads have been saying it was like, oh, it's just um like a it knockoff or something. I was like, I could see the similarities because it deals with like children and fears, and like at the center of it all is like there's a clown in this one too.
Hmm.
But the stories, obviously, I haven't read it yet, but I could see like the similarities of it. I wouldn't necessarily say this is a rip off of it though, because it's completely different.
Yeah.
And I've been reading some Goosebumps books. Uh, I read Pen Pal. We've talked about that
Oh
on
yeah, I gave that a
Corey's
five
book.
star. I knew there was another one.
I gave it a 5 star too. I
Hmm.
loved it. I was
I loved it too.
so unnerved by it.
Hmm.
I don't get creeped out by books usually, but this book, mm, 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 mm.
If it's rooted in reality like that, that
Yeah,
it's something that could happen, that's what freaks me out. I don't like true crime for that reason or anything that could happen. I'm like, nope, I want fantastical things.
I understand that. I get that. Like, but at the same time, I am fascinated by true crime.
Hmm.
I do like some true crime fiction.
Hmm.
I have a couple of true crime fiction books on my shelf I really liked. But the last book I logged before March ended was Listen to Your Sister by Nina Vale.
Ooh, what'd you end up giving that?
I gave it like a 2 star, but it's a very,
Okay.
very high 2 star.
I gave it a three.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say like it was a bad book. There I could see the concept of it was really, really interesting and it was really
Hmm.
original. But the problem I had with it was the writing was too, just it was too hard to follow. It wasn't just like the nightmare sequences and there's like the overall
Hmm.
writing of it. I just could not like get into it, and it was just like I can understand like the story of it. The story itself is like really good. It's just like the writing of it
Yeah.
was just like it wasn't really like my cup of tea. It was very, very hard to follow.
Yeah, I thought I rated it kind of low because I know when they did their stream, and a lot of people I follow were giving it like 3.5s, 4s, 4.5s, 5s. I'm like, ooh, I thought it was just okay. I liked the first half. It's when it went to the second half is when it lost me with all the my nightmare sequence going on. I was following it pretty well up until part 3, and then I was like, and then the way it ended, it wrapped up too quickly for the amount of book.
Mm-hmm.
The setup, I felt like it could have been another 25 pages for the resolution, but I am going to read from that author again because I think
Oh,
she's just going to
yeah,
get better. So,
yeah, yeah. It's a debut novel, so
mm-hmm,
obviously with time you're gonna get better or
mm-hmm,
worse depending. But yeah, I definitely would read another book by this author. But I was like in the opposite direction with that. I felt like the book was the way it was written. It just felt unnecessarily too long. Like this book could have been just 300 pages max.
mm-hmm.
It just felt so. It felt like dragged out to me, and the constant action and just like everything that was going on, I wasn't getting like that much enjoyment out of it.
I can see that.
So that's our quick little reading wrap up
That's our
for
reading, right? Recap.
recap, and we're going to be talking about Goosebumps for the stream. Do
Hmm.
you have your books, Heather?
I do. These are not my original because the first ones came out in, was it 92 or 93? The first 5 was released, and I was
90,
8.
92, I believe.
Was it 92?
Yeah.
I was 8. So I was in elementary school with the whole Scholastic book fairs. So I had all the books like 1 through 40. And then as I got older, I graduated from middle grade to young adult to adult. So I got rid of them in a yard sale. So I started collecting them off of Etsy. And most of them that I have, they're in pretty good condition. I was like, there's some of them that's a little ragged. I've got a couple
Mm-hmm.
of them. Just be careful if you do go on Etsy because there's a lot of people that will put it as first editions. But if you
Yeah.
go in there, it has to have that one. This one, yeah, this was from Megan Patterson. She received this book on Christmas Eve in 1994.
I love that when
I love it.
people write their names inside or like write little like notes and just like
Hmm.
it gives you an idea of like what the book itself has been. It's been
And
on
I
a
hope mine were
journey.
like that. So whoever they went to, I hope they enjoyed them.
I've encountered books in my collection that have that like previous owners' names in them.
Mm-hmm.
Like this book belongs to insert name here.
Mm-hmm. So we
But yeah,
picked 5, and we picked the ones that had their 30th anniversary this year. So from January, because they were released once a month after the first initial 5. So these
yeah.
were from January 95 to May 1995. So numbers 27 to 31.
Feels so old.
Me too, because yesterday was the 41st WrestleMania anniversary. So there you go.
Okay, so you told your story of
Mhm.
how you got into Goosebumps. Like you're around the same age as me, right?
Yeah,
Like
I'm 30. I'm 39. I'll have my 40th anniversary in
okay,
November.
okay. Um, I'm 31,
Hmm.
so we're in that 30s crowd.
Hmm.
Um, I I got into Goosebumps through the TV show before I
Okay.
got before I got into the books. It was the TV show that kind of introduced me to this series. Specifically, I had a couple of the video cassettes,
Mhm.
and I had the Haunted Mask, obviously,
Mhm.
uh, Stay at the Basement, an Ultimate Goosebumps VHS that had Bride of the Living Dummy and an old story. I would watch those tapes all the time. And my cousin gave me my very first Goosebumps book when I was a kid. It was number 7, Night of the Living Dummy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Good one.
And this series, reading this series again, it definitely shows its time, its
Mhm.
age, I should say. But there's some things in it that have not aged that great. But these books are so important because um, they got, I don't know about you, but they helped me kind of jump, like, find my way into horror, to find my way
Mhm.
into the horror genre. And I was
Same.
watching YouTube.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Obviously, if you're like, I was watching like horror movies when I was a kid, but it was Goosebumps that really helped me become more of a reader. I was reading books with my mom and my grandma. They were reading books to me, with me, I should say.
Mhm.
And it wasn't until I started to get into the Goosebumps series and the Captain Underpants series. Those were my like first, from what I can recall, my first like chapter books that I read growing up. And obviously they're so nostalgic to both of us now.
I know.
And it's just so, I'm just having a good time reading, revisiting them, and just like, especially from like a more critical adult eye, just to say I'm not completely biased because these books were a big part of my childhood. So, what about you? Do you have any like, do you have any special memories with this series?
I think they just got me into reading more because I was there when they first came out. I remember going to Kmart and my grandmother bought them for me, and she's like, if I'm gonna spend money on you, instead of buying you toys or things like that, I would rather buy you books. So this is kind of what got me into reading, really, because they're only about 120 to 130 pages. The chapters are
Mm-hmm.
short.
Yeah.
Most of them end on a cliffhanger. They're fast reads, and yeah, it got me into reading. It got me more into horror. So yeah, I don't look at them critically because I have nostalgia classes. There's very few that I rank low, and I just can't help it. I don't want to look at them critically. There's some things that jumped out, but for the most part, I'm like, oh, I love them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had a similar I had a similar thing growing up. Like, whenever my family took a trip to the mall, I was always going to Walden Books. It
Hmm.
was it was the only store in the mall that I recall actually, because I was such a big reader. I loved going in there, and even if I couldn't buy anything, I just loved sitting in the back and reading, or just like browsing books. And once in a while, my my mom and my grandma would give me money, and I would get a Goosebumps book or any book. And like you said, like the Scholastic book fairs, those were huge when we
Hmm.
were growing up. The uh, book orders, when those came around, I remember circling every single book I wanted. I wasn't I wasn't given an allowance, so I couldn't pay for them with my own money.
Right.
So I always had to beg my mom and my grandma to buy things for me. And I forgot, like, if I did like any kind of way to earn money from them for doing that.
I got money for A's on my report card. So I was like, I would get like $20 every 8-9 weeks when the report cards came out. So,
Nice.
and back then it was, because these sold for about $3 to $4.99. So you could get a couple of books for that amount.
Yeah. Okay. So, do you want to start talking about the 5 that we wanted to discuss? Like, mentioned in we were talking about behind and backstage, if you wanted to do them like chronologically, or do you want to rate them from least favorite to favorite?
Probably chronologically. I think our rankings might be different. So
We could rank them after the stream is over.
yeah, I was like, then we can rank them in order.
Because we got a lot to say about these books. Okay, so I guess we should start. We're going in chronological order. Let's start with number 27, A Night in Terror Tower.
Yep, so you got the same that I do.
We got the OG covers.
The OG.
We're book snobs.
I know.
We got the OG covers.
With the bumpy. I love how they do that. The raised and the bumps. Yeah. So number 27, A Night in Terror Tower. Tagline, it's gonna be a long night. I feel like this one was one that was super popular because of the TV show.
Yeah.
It was broken up into the 2 parts.
Yes.
And I haven't seen that in years, so I'm trying to remember. I feel like the end of that was a little different from the end of the book, which most of them I know are like that.
It was. I recall, like, that was another VHS I had growing up. I
had that one too.
This
and
one.
The clamshell, like big, like the Disney case ones.
Yes. That was one of my favorite episodes.
Mm-hmm.
And you mentioned it's this one is popular.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever I talk to people about Goosebumps, the one that comes to mind, like people who have like know the series, is The Haunted Mask.
Yes.
Which makes sense. It was the first episode. It was a Halloween episode, and to many people, it was the scariest. I would say that I like The Haunted Mask. I would agree it's a great episode, but I would say that there are plenty of like Goosebumps books that are just as good, if not probably scarier than the book itself. But what do you want to say about A Night in Terror Tower?
It's really good. I love this one. This one is probably in my top 10 favorite books out of the 62 originals. I'm a sucker for time jumps. So this one and the next one, when it has to deal with time traveling and little side quest, it feels like the stakes in this one were a lot higher than some of the other ones. There's a more sense of dread. So this one, the TV show and the actual book, is always like top tier for me. I enjoyed it a lot, even rereading it.
Yes, I completely agree. The stakes in this one were really, really freaking high for a Goosebumps book.
For a Goosebumps book, because they're middle grade. So I know R.L. Stine, he doesn't really kill off characters. But
No,
this one got close.
Yeah, not in this series. It's a very rare occurrence if someone in this series actually dies, and it's not 9 times out of 10, it's not the kids that die in the series. It's usually the monsters or something
Mm-hmm.
happens to the kids. But Stein has written some endings that went pretty dark. I'm not gonna lie,
Mm-hmm.
like really, really dark.
Yeah, and you
Um,
don't think about them being that dark. I didn't when I
yeah,
was younger, but now looking back now and then reading them, I'm like, that's a lot darker than what I
yeah.
remember it being.
So what this book is about is we follow a brother and sister named Eddie and Sue, and
Mhm.
they're in London, England, with their parents, and their parents are at a conference, so they go out on a tour with the group of people, and they go and see all like the sightseeing touristy stuff you would see in London, and they end up at this tourist attraction called Terror Tower,
Mhm.
which, from my understanding, is uh, based on the Tower of London, where they would
Okay.
keep uh, prisoners during the medieval century.
Mhm.
I'm talking maybe like the I'm not quite clear on where exactly it was. Maybe like the fourth or the 16th century,
Yeah, it was early.
early middle age. Like people were people wore armor and they wore like robes and all that stuff, and they ate like these giant like turkey legs, and
Mhm.
everyone was just impoverished. And they the tour guide mentions in the beginning of the book that if these people weren't able to pay the rent, they were basically imprisoned, and more than likely they would be executed.
Mhm.
So we're off to a great start.
Yeah.
And what I really liked about this one is I read Curse of the Mummy's Tomb, which was book number 5 in the original series.
Mhm.
And that story took place in Egypt. So there was a lot of like I really like when Goosebumps kind of goes to like like a different
Different country other than the
yeah,
US or Mhm.
different country, different like what have you, whether it's like a foreign country, because
Mhm.
more times than not, these Goosebumps books always feel like they're stuck in like some random suburb or a town,
Most of them
and
are. Yeah.
yeah, and that's just to me living in like a not very exciting town. It just gets kind of boring after a while reading about it because you feel like you're stuck in the living in the same area as like these characters. So it was cool for this one to go to another country, and we get to see like all this stuff. And there felt like there was some there was some research put into this one too in terms of like
Feel like there was, yeah.
how it was like described and like all like the sites and like how I want to say like accurate it was to how these people were, how life was, and during that time period when they go back to the Middle Ages. I was just like, I didn't really get that from Curse of the Mummy's Tomb. I felt like it was just kind of like the basic of what uh, Egyptology was. It was like
Mhm.
it wasn't even called like the sarcophagus wasn't even called the sarcophagus. It was just called a coffin.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, oh, well, that's unfortunate. Anyways, so Eddie and Sue go into Terror Tower, and it's another thing I really like about this book is that it's not as funny as some other Goosebumps books, which thank God. something that really there's something that really annoys me about how many jokes Stein puts into his Goosebumps books. I know these are made for kids. I get that, but the humor kind of just becomes overboarded with some of these books, where it just doesn't feel like it doesn't feel as scary as these books should be. You know?
Mm-hmm. He's got some very weird sayings in some of them. If you're not from a certain region of the US or familiar with it, especially in Monster Blood 3, that one made me laugh because some of the sayings were bonkers. I'm like, as like 12-year-olds don't talk like that, but
So one of my favorite scenes is early on in the book when they're taken into the torture chamber.
mm-hmm.
And they're introduced to this thing called the rack.
Yeah,
I was just like, oh my god.
made me think of Saul.
Yeah, right?
I was like, oh no.
It's not like it's not the same thing as in Saw 3 though. This one is when they put a prisoner down, like back down on a flat piece of wood, and then they bound their hands and legs to these ropes, and this giant cogwheel was turned. It would pull their arms and legs, like
Mm-hmm.
stretching them out. I was just like, whew. I mean, Middle Ages, man.
Yeah, so it pretty much would just, instead of twisting the joint, it would pop all your
Yeah,
limbs
it was
and
just,
dislocate them out of the socket. Then you couldn't run away because everything's out of that joint.
oh my god. It's up to you to decide which one sounds more painful to go through. Would you rather?
I would just want the axe, just cut my head off.
Yeah,
Like
just,
the
just
basic block.
just the decapitation. At least
Mm-hmm.
at least that one is
It's
swift.
quick. It's quick. Hopefully the blade is sharp, like the
Oh my
executioner. If it's
god.
a dull blade and it's like hitting your neck.
Just like it just keeps hitting your neck until
It
your
just,
neck is just like
yeah.
completely falls off. It's just like,
Oh
oh my
man,
god, just please just end it. It's not it's like it's he's probably like it's not going through.
that would be unfortunate.
So they move on from the torture chamber, and the tour guide takes him. He's making these jokes as he's going up. Like he tells the group that he's telling the current group that he's with that he's lost like a tour group before in the castle because there's so many passages and
Mm-hmm.
like staircases that lead to every, and you understand like when you kind of when you read a Goosebumps book, you're going to expect some humor, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I just like this one because it doesn't feel like just a humorous book, unlike another book that we'll be talking about, which is it feels like nothing but humor. So the tour guide takes him to the very top cell of the tower where he tells the story of this prince and princess of York who were taken from their home after their mother and father died and their uncle usurped the throne.
Mm-hmm.
And he sent them to have them removed, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
And the way that so what one of the things I like about books like this and Welcome to Dead House is it's very very atmospheric.
Mm-hmm. It is.
And like I could almost feel like I was in the room with these two. Um, you could he just felt like you could feel like the drab. You could practically smell how almost sour and stale that cell was. Did you feel that when you were reading
Yeah,
it?
I did too, because it being set in London, immediately they were talking about how dark, how dreary, how rainy, damp that
Mm-hmm.
it was. And then going into the tower, you just felt the descriptions of everything, how cold that it was, and how dark and very isolating. So, yeah, he did a
Yeah.
great job with the atmosphere.
Yes. You could almost feel how wet the stones were and hear like
Mhm.
the clapping
Of the
of
chains and everything on the walls, just the
yeah.
echo of how alone you really were.
Okay. And let's talk about one of the scariest elements of any Goosebumps book, the executioner.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh. And all of like the characters that Stein writes about for all the monsters and all like the scary creatures he creates, the executioner is, I would say, in top 5 scariest
Mm-hmm.
because he's not cracking jokes. He's
No.
completely serious. He's he's super menacing.
Mm-hmm.
It's just he wears like this giant cloak or this cape. He has like a brim hat, and all Stein like describes him as is having like this deep voice and like these piercing eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And all I was thinking of when I was reading this book is the actor who portrayed him in the episode.
But yeah, I know.
I was like, I'm gonna like, I'm just thinking about that because that's all. Like I remember just like watching that episode so much as a kid, and now I'm just thinking that's what's branded in my like
Yeah.
my mind's imagery of what this guy looks like, and he looks so accurate to how he's described in the book, and it's so scary because Eddie and Sue, when they run into him, they don't understand. Like he doesn't say anything at first. He's just kind of in the corner, just like looking at them,
Just lurking. Yeah.
just lurking. And when he gets them alone, he tells them that they're coming with him, and he don't, and they know why, or he knows they know why he's there for them,
Mm-hmm.
but they don't know at this point. So the book essentially becomes one giant chase as they're getting away from this man,
Yeah.
which, oh my gosh, it's like, put yourself in these kids' shoes. If you saw like this hulking man coming after
Mm-hmm.
you, saying that he's come for you, and he tries to grab you and try to like force you to go with him, would you be scared out of your mind?
Yeah, because Eddie's 10 and Sue is 12. And so you gotta remember this was a 95. Cell phones weren't a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're
Well,
talking about just Polaroid cameras, disposable cameras, like, and then he came out of nowhere. Stranger danger was real back then.
oh
So
yeah,
yeah, this big hulking menacing man is just telling these two kids, "You're coming with me," and their parents aren't there. Their parents are
yeah,
away. They're at a conference, so they're kind of alone and in a strange country that they've never been to.
yeah.
They don't know the customs. They don't know who to go for help.
It was just so intense. This whole scene about how they're being chased, and they eventually get away from him, and they find themselves outside, and they get a cabbie back to the hotel. But when Sue tries to pay the cabbie his money, because like you said, they're in a different country, so they don't pay like fare the same way Americans do.
Hmm.
They pay in pounds, and she doesn't Sue doesn't understand like how much the cabbie is asking for, and the cabbie is getting frustrated because he wants to get paid.
Yeah,
So
time is money too. He's like, I gotta get the next person. Let's go.
yeah. So they go inside the hotel and to get their parents to get them, ask them to pay for the fare. And when they go up to the bedroom, they discover that what's at this point also that something strange begins to happen to Eddie and Sue. They begin to lose their memories.
Mm-hmm.
What did you think about that element?
I thought that the first time I read it, I thought that was a really good twist because they knew, like at the beginning of the book, they establish at page 1 that they're on a tour, their parents are at a conference, and they know the name of the hotel. But when they walk into the lobby and go up to the receptionist desk, because neither one of them has a key to the room, and they're like, oh, we must have left them in the room. So they go up to the receptionist and they don't know what room number they were in. And she's like, oh, no problem. I can look up your last name. And both of them are just standing there going, I don't know my last name. So at that point, you're like, okay, something is weird going on. Did the executioner do something to them since he was so close? Like, did they get exposed to something in the tower? What's real, what isn't real? Like, they're freaking out. And then when they say, I don't even know what our parents look like, that is crazy.
Yeah. They can't remember anything.
But their first names.
But their first names and their travels throughout the day, but they can't remember where they lived, what their parents looked like, and not even their last names, like you said. And so we as the reader are kind of like, okay, well, what is going on? Is there something like we don't understand this yet, but it will be explained like later on in the book.
Mm-hmm.
And so while they're trying to figure this out, they go into the hotel restaurant to get something to eat. And it's kind of funny because they're starving because they haven't eaten all day. They just had potatoes and oh gosh, it was some potatoes and something else.
Oh, I was like, do they even remember what they ate for breakfast? I don't. What do they eat over there? Bangers and mash? Or...
Yeah, bangers and mash. It was sausages and mashed potatoes.
For breakfast, okay.
But that was like hours ago, so of course, like you would be starving too if you were like running for your life from this strange man. Yeah, a lot of running. So they ended up like having scones, sandwiches, like pastries, which in hindsight doesn't sound too bad.
That sounds delightful. It's high tea.
It's high tea.
I would love that.
It's very Brit to have tea. It's very Brit to have tea. Which, side note here, I never really got the appeal for it. I'm not British. I'm not from that country, so I didn't really get like the obsession that they have with tea. Did you?
Oh, I love tea. I love a chai tea. I love chai tea lattes. All of it. English breakfast tea.
I think I'm just basic because when it comes to tea, I'll only really drink like the brisk brand.
Like, yeah, I love hot tea. I also love sweet tea. I am from the South, so I'll drink a ton of sweet tea.
Anyways, they're trying to, when they're sitting there eating, they're figuring all this stuff out, like how to recollect their memories. And all that's going on. They spot the cabbie coming into the hotel restaurant.
Yeah, because he never got paid.
Yeah, he never. They went up to their bedroom to see if their parents were there. Of course, they're not. And another strange thing is that everything in the room is gone. like there's no clothes,
Mm-hmm.
there's no clothes in the wardrobe, there's nothing in the room. All the beds are made up,
Yeah.
and they start to like think about like, well, are we in the wrong room? Did we do something? So they go down to talk to the concierge at the front desk, and that's where they discover like they can't remember anything else. And he tells them that, well, there's no conference here. Like, okay, there was no conference at the hotel, so they're just kind of like stuck in a place. And so they sneak out a side door out of the restaurant to avoid the cabbie because they can't tell him that the reason they can't pay him is because they lost their memories.
Yeah.
It was kind of funny. And they bump into the executioner in like, I guess it's like a staff hallway, like a staff
Mm-hmm.
corridor where they come in. They bump into him, and he tells them he asks them, "Did you really think you could escape from me?" And he then holds out his hand and tells Eddie to give something back to him because Eddie is basically a pickpocket.
He is.
He he doesn't do it out of like maliciousness. He doesn't like pickpocket people. He plays it as a joke. You
Mm-hmm.
know, he took his sister's camera at one point early on in the book. Um, so when they encountered the executioner for the first time in the dungeon, he grabbed Eddie and then he stole like 3 stones away from him, which these stones are magic. And it's later on explained later in the book where these stones came from. But what they do is he places 3 of them on a tower, and he like performs like a spell on them, and these stones like have the ability to travel through time.
Mm-hmm.
And he demands Eddie to give the stones back to him, which he does eventually because out of like a barter, well, if I give them back to you, will you let us go? And he doesn't say I will, he just says hand them to me.
You're right.
Yeah. And he starts performing the spell, and then Eddie's like, will you let us go now? And then the executioner's like, we will go now.
Mm-hmm.
And then he takes them back in time to London during the Middle Ages.
Mm-hmm.
Like the hotel is gone. There's they find themselves in like a like I guess it's like a castle, not like a castle courtyard, but like a little area that's like kind of like a I want to say it's like a marketplace.
That's what I thought too. It
It,
was a
it's
public marketplace where
yeah,
people were about.
yeah, because there's like little huts everywhere, and people are wearing like these really dirty robes, and they find like there's sheeps and chickens and dogs in the streets, and people are like driving carts with like stuff on them, and it was just I don't know. It just got really interesting. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
this book was already interesting up until that point, but when they actually are sent back in time, that's when it really just like that's when you're like, oh, we are actually in the Middle Ages.
Mm-hmm.
It just felt like something out of the Magic Treehouse series.
Right.
So they wander outside and they find like a guy who's just like carrying wood somewhere to it, I guess to his hut. And Sue asks him where the hotel is, and he looks at her confused because this guy has never heard of a hotel.
Mm-hmm.
He tells them that people stay at this, I guess it's like a lodge or a barter. There was a word for it.
Yeah, I was like, hotel had not been invented yet.
No, not in that era.
So,
which is
Yeah, because their clothes changed and everything when they went back.
oh, it says it's called the Abbey.
Abby, okay.
Yeah, which I'm assuming is kind of like an inn,
Yeah.
because they said it was like there was like a long little building where people were staying, and people like the townsfolk seem to recognize them for some reason,
Mm-hmm.
and they keep pointing at them and telling them and screaming, "It's them! It's them!" And at some point, Eddie and Sue become separated. So Sue is on her own for a few minutes until the executioner finds her
Mm-hmm.
and abducts her and takes her back to the castle. And they find Eddie and Sue are reunited in the tower. And then they meet the king's wizard.
Yes.
What did you think about him? Because how he's like portrayed, how he's portrayed in the book and how he's portrayed in the episode are completely different.
Is it? I can't remember him in the episode. I think he was generally just doing the best that he could with the circumstances that he was given.
Yes.
I mean, I don't think of him as wanting to do ill will. That he was trying to be as kind as he could.
Yeah.
I don't remember him in the episode at all.
um. So what happens is this is kind of where we're getting into like the spoilers of the story, and like we said, we're talking about a series that's I think like 30 years old now. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, there will be spoilers for these books. The the King's Wizard Morgrim, he explains that Eddie and Sue were the prince and princess in the tour guide story, and they're not Eddie and Sue, but they're Edward and Susanna.
Mm-hmm. Of York.
Yes. And what happened was the reason they couldn't remember anything was he sent them far into the future so they wouldn't be executed. And like he couldn't finish the spells that would he created new memories for them so they could survive in a different time. But he couldn't wasn't able to finish all the memories, so that's why there were like missing pieces of
Mm-hmm.
why they couldn't remember stuff about their lives, like where they lived and what their last name was, because those pieces haven't been filled yet.
Yeah, I thought that was a pretty good plot twist for them. They actually don't belong in the 20th century in the 90s. They
No.
are from the Middle Ages all along.
Yeah, because Eddie and Sue kept thinking about when they were going through the tower in the modern times. They were thinking, well, they feel like they've been there before. Like they've walked those steps before, they walked down those corridors before, but they just couldn't remember they couldn't remember why.
Yeah.
And it's revealed exactly why. It's because they don't belong '90s in the '90s at all, because they were like the prince and princess from far, like far. I want to say like far or long ago. I don't know. I can't decide on which term is correct.
Yeah. I wonder if R.L. Stein kind of got a little bit of inspiration from The Lion King because it came out in 91 and this book came out in 95, just because Morgred was telling them your parents, they're the rightful king and queen, but they're dead. Like your uncle named himself king and now he's wanting to kill you, which is kind of like Scar with Mufasa and Simba. That's what it reminded me of.
that wouldn't really surprise me.
Yeah.
But yeah, um, the Lion King is based off of Hamlet, though,
Yeah, I
supposedly.
know.
But yeah, I mean, R.L. Stein was he could have been inspired by the Lion King. I mean, you look at like the trajectory of like all these Goosebumps books. Some of them have felt like uh, they felt very similar to like Twilight Zone stories. Like Say Cheese and Die had an episode. Say Cheese and Die's like story felt similar to the episode of Very Unusual Camera,
Hmm.
about a camera that takes pictures of the future. So like, eh, Stein could have been inspired by like
Yeah.
any number of things to create this series. So as we're like approaching the finale for this book, what happens is how the executioner got uh, time travel to the future to capture Eddie and Sue and bring him back to that era was he was spying on the king's wizard,
Hmm.
and he stole the stones from him. He then traveled forward in time to uh, bring them back in hopes of like he wanted to execute them. And this is the point where the episode and the book's endings differ quite a bit, but they're kind of the same. Because in the book, everything is kind of just like the ending is just kind of wrapped up really fast.
Hmm.
Um, Eddie, Eddie and Sue try to escape because Morgan left the door open, but he's kind of like he feels bad, but he feels bad for their fate. But he he puts a spell on them so they can't escape the tower until he's out of the room. And when Eddie, when they hugged him, or when the wizard hugged him goodbye, he pickpocketed the wizard and stole
Yeah.
the stones.
Stone
Stole the
stones.
stones back, and they traveled forward in time to the future again. But this time, like Morgan went with them, and he is their new guardian because their
Hmm.
parents, or the king and queen, are dead, and they don't have any like real parents in the future. So he's taking like guardianship of them. And where the episode is different is they show an entire scene of them going down into the king's dungeon to be executed, and it mostly plays out the same. They do get back to the future,
Hmm. Yeah.
back to the future.
Yeah.
um, but they get the stones back from the executioner, and the episode ends with Morgrim having one of the stones left. Or actually, no, he has two of the stones left, I should say.
Yeah.
And then it shows the executioner having one more stone because he went forward in time with them.
Hmm.
And it just shows him like staring at them as they leave on the tour bus with the Tower of London in the back behind him.
Yeah. That's usually how R.L. Stein leaves books, is on like a little one line cliffhanger or
Mm-hmm.
something like that. This one is one of the few ones that I can think of that ends with them going to the future and they're just going to the Burger Palace for some good 20th century hamburger and fries with their new guardian. But I do
Mm-hmm.
remember in the episode that that was kind of the last shot, was the executioner there with one of the stones. Like he got pulled in with the
Yeah.
spell and he's still going to be chasing after them.
Well, he's not going to the Burger Palace with them, that's for sure.
That's for sure. Yeah, he did not get that invite.
Yeah, and also it's one of the few Goosebumps stories that actually has kind of a happy ending, because
Hmm.
most of the stories do have like a somber ending or they leave and like a humorous note.
Or like a to be continued.
Yeah, like a
It
to be
might not be
continued.
over.
This is one of the few books that I wish that Stein would do a sequel to. Like,
I feel like there is one.
there is one, but
Return to
it
Terror Tower, but it's not in the
it's
OG. It's something else.
it's like it's in the Give Yourself Goosebumps series.
Okay, that's what it
Yeah,
was.
it was the Choose Your Own Adventure series, but that's like a game book.
Yeah.
I want a direct sequel to this and like his new series, as well as like one for Welcome to Dead House, because when Goosebumps Gold was supposed to be a thing back in the 2000s,
hmm
there was going to be like a Christmas themed sequel to Welcome to Dead House.
Oh, how fun.
I'm like, can we please get that again, please?
Oh,
I
that'd be awesome.
I want I want that so bad because I Welcome to Dead House is one of my favorites.
Yeah.
It's one of the scariest, that's for sure.
hmm
And that's when Stein was first starting out the series, and he said that he kind of regrets making it as scary as it was because if he wrote it now, he would put in more jokes.
Mm.
I'm like, oh, please don't do that.
Yeah, that
Please,
one, talking
no.
about killing people, it was off page, but the whole town died.
Yeah,
You know, everyone was dead because
everyone
of that
was dead.
factory.
Yes, it's like it's one of the few books that was genuinely scary. I'm
hmm
like, if you put in more jokes, it would just like take all like the fear out of it.
Yeah, that
At
one.
least in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't think that one needed to. Yeah, this one didn't have a lot of jokes in it. The only jokey
Mm,
thing was just Eddie being Eddie,
yeah,
pickpocketing. That was the only like comic relief for a minute. Was him bumping into people and or like Sue stealing her camera and everything. But yeah, I wonder how they would function in this world now. You know, they don't have social security numbers. How are they going to school? They don't have birth certificates, you know. To think critically about it, like this guy just, okay, well, I'm your guardian now. Like, there's no legal nothing, and they still don't have money. The cab guy
yeah,
still never got paid.
you're right. They can't go back in time. But
hmm
like, why would they? I mean, why would they want to? It was horrible. I
Oh,
mean,
yeah. Even them
living.
talking about the people in the markets, they didn't have utensils, that they were all
Yeah,
starving, just shoveling food
yeah.
in their mouths and everything.
I mean, we didn't really get to see how their life was like when where they came from. We only got to see their
Yeah,
perspective when they were in the tower. Where they came from with their parents, maybe it was a nicer area than what they were like brought into.
I'm
You know?
sure it was. Even their clothes was a lot more. You could tell that they had come from money because people
Mm-hmm.
could point them out in a crowd.
Yeah.
They weren't dirty, like they were bathed. Their
Yeah.
clothes didn't have holes in them.
All
You can
tattered.
tell they weren't starving. You know, they didn't look gauntly or super skinny. So, what did you rate this one out of 5 stars?
I gave this one a 4 out of 5.
I gave it a 4 out of 5 too.
I absolutely love this. I love this book, but I saved my like with some exceptions for books that I really really enjoyed. I saved my 5 stars for books that just completely just I love them. But it's a different kind of love. Just like I really a 4 stars for a Goosebumps book was still really high.
Oh yeah. hmm
Like, but
For a middle grade 129 page book.
it was really
I
good.
so far out of the ones that I've read, I think I'm in the 50s now. I stopped at 53. Um I think I've given 3 books 5 stars. Some of them are just enjoyment. Like I laughed so
Yeah,
hard and I'm like, this is so
same.
ridiculous that I was so entertained. And they're not, you know, some kind of classic literary masterpiece, but I'm like, I will read this again and I had a
Yeah,
great time. So,
absolutely. Like you're that's a good way to summarize it. These books are just when you read when you read a really good Goosebumps book, it has like real character development in it. It is such a it's such a breath of fresh air because most of these books, the characters aren't like they're either not fleshed out, they're infuriating, or they're just plain dumb.
mm-hmm,
Putting it bluntly, like
mm-hmm.
even the kids, they make like these stupid mistakes that like real kids would never do. I'm just reading these like, what are we doing? Why are you doing this? It doesn't make any sense. I know you're a kid, but you have a brain too, and you have to use it. Not every we will there is a oh my god, there is a book in this in this pile that we will get to where I'm just like, oh my god, I just cannot with these kids. I
Oh
just
no.
I just cannot with this kids. It's just like they're so bad. So, A Night in Terror Tower. It's really good, guys. It's really fun. One of the higher Goosebumps books, in my opinion, as you said, like, is it yours as well?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like a pre Game of Thrones, but like
Yeah,
the condensed because it's medieval times and all that, but lower stakes. But
I was honestly worried for Eddie and Sue by the end because
yeah.
I haven't read this book in years. So I was reading it along with like one of those old school Goosebumps audio cassettes I found on
Mm-hmm.
YouTube. It was like more dramatized, so it really
Right.
enhanced the experience of like reading this book. And I was like, oh my gosh, I was worried that these kids weren't gonna make it if they were actually gonna get executed.
Mm.
But as most like Goosebumps books end, it does end of like, oh no, these kids are gonna be safe, and they just kind of go on with their lives and like this new future.
Yep.
So enjoy it, kids. It's probably, especially in the '90s, because it's probably not going to get any better.
Yeah.
Okay, so having fun. So we should move on to the next one. What is comes? Okay,
Number 28.
number 28.
The Cuckoo
The
Clock
Clock of
of Doom.
Doom.
Keep your eye on the birdie. See, this one, someone just labeled it as supernatural from somewhere, like this section. Yeah, this one, it's so old, like the pages are not really crisp and white anymore. You have to be careful turning it. It's kind of crinkly. I'm like, oh, you poor thing.
I think mine's in pretty pristine
Yours
condition.
is a pretty crisp. Yeah, mine's had like a sticker on it at one time. The Scholastic at the bottom has got like a part off of it. This one's been read and
Yeah.
used a lot.
It's got some like I don't know if you could see that. It's got some creases right there on the spine.
Yeah, but yours looks really good. So this one was also made into an episode as well. I think this one's pretty faithful
Oh
for
yeah,
the most part.
yeah. Did you have thoughts on it? On the or like
This one's one of my favorites. This is one of the ones I gave a 5. The Haunted Mask, The Cuckoo Clock of Doom, and the Horror at Camp Jelly Jam. Those are the three that I've given 5 stars. Because this one entertains me so much. Again, one right after another. We got time travel.
Yeah.
Very interesting. So this one was February of 1995. I don't think you see cuckoo clocks that much anymore, or grandfather clocks. So it's kind of a
No.
lost antique.
Yeah. You mostly see them in like antique stores now.
Mm-hmm. This one, even though it is time travel, whereas in A Night in Terror Tower, we had siblings that really loved each other, had a strong bond, were on the same team, were 2 years apart. This one is not the case.
Oh my
we
god.
follow Michael, that's 12, and his younger sister, Tara, who's 7. And usually, when R.L. Stein writes his books, the kids are like 2 years apart. It's usually
Yeah.
a brother and a sister.
Yeah.
Sometimes he'll have twins, but they're usually no more than 2 or 3 years apart. They're always like 12 or 13, because
Yeah.
that's how old his son was when he was writing them.
Yeah, and also because of these
And in
folks,
the
like
middle, yeah.
the demographic for these folks is roughly around like that age where
Mhm.
kids are reading these. So he makes a lot, like he does make these characters like between like, I would say like between like 7 and 12 years old.
Mhm.
Like his Fear Street stuff, those go up to like teenage years.
Yeah.
But there's a few characters in his books that I saw that were, this is rare, but some I made up to like, they made it up to like 15, 16 years old, but they're not like the main characters.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm sorry. Did you want to? Did you? Can you? Can you continue, please? I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Oh no, you're fine. That's what I was just saying. So this one, we're following Michael and his younger sister Tara.
Mm-hmm.
And immediately, like the first page of the book, Tara is a jokester. Her nickname is Tara the Terror. That's really hard to
Mm-hmm.
say.
Terror
I
the
think
Terror.
I think in the movie it was Tara the Terrible. That's a little easier to say. But she sucks. She
Yeah.
they writes her that she's such a brat. And
Oh my
poor
god.
Michael, I feel so bad for him because his parents, every time he will complain about Tara, like, oh, Michael, your shoes are untied. And he's like, no, I'm not going to look because if I look down, then she'll like flip my nose or trip me or something like that. Tara is one way in front of her parents, but
Mm-hmm.
acts another way towards her brother. And she
Yeah.
does. She tortures him. And
She's
she
a
knows
little.
she is. She can get away with it. And
She's
it's
a little shit.
awful. She is such a little shit.
She's a little shit. Putting it bluntly, she is a little shit.
Yep. That's what he says. I'm 12, Tara's 7. She's made the last 7 years of my life miserable. He just wants peace and quiet and to have a little fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the
Oh.
first chapter, it's not, his parents aren't named. It's just dad and mom, and
Mm-hmm.
there's 2 men, and they're bringing this big ass cuckoo clock in. And this dad has been wanting this cuckoo clock for the last 15 years. The antique dealer finally put it on sale, and he snagged it. And immediately, it's the first chapter, the meanest bird I ever saw, and it dove for my head. I screamed, "It's alive!" And then, like, you turn the page, and it's, he makes it that something terrible is going to happen, that you're going to die. And it's just a cuckoo clock. It's just a bird that flies out. And then, of course, they're like, don't touch it. It's really expensive.
Yeah.
There's a lure behind it that if you're ever able to figure it out, you can travel through time. But that there also is a flaw with the clock. And that's all he knows. That's why it was discounted. See, what else does Tara do?
Okay.
There's so
So
many things that
there's
make
a
me sad.
I hated this kid so much when I was reading it.
You're supposed
Like I
to.
was I
Yeah,
was
you're
reading it.
supposed to.
This is this is one of the worst characters that Stein has ever written. And not all of his characters are like that. I want to say that there's a character, I think her name is Brandy in Egg Monsters from Mars. She's
I think so.
she's kind of similar to Tara in her personality because this girl really lives up to her name. When I wrote my review on Goodreads about this book, I said, imagine if Angelica Pickles and D.W. Reed they were combined, but they were like 10 times worse. This girl is so awful to her brother. And
Yeah,
her
she
brother
needs a
did
good ass whooping. That's what she needs.
she needs like someone to this is the this is the 90s. This is before kids were still getting
Paddler at school, paddler at home.
getting getting beat with belts with shoes. That
Go
was
outside and pick your switch off the tree.
that was my childhood growing up. If I screwed up, I got smacked.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get this. I didn't get what parents were doing nowadays, like when there's finger wagging and I'm so disappointed in you shit. Like Tara, no, she needed a good spanking, to be honest, because she is a complete. She's a manipulator in front of her parents.
Mm-hmm.
She's constantly wrecking Michael's things. Like on his birthday, his parents got him this this pricey new bike that he's been wanting.
I know.
What is the
Oh
first
man.
what is the first thing that Tara does to it? She hops on it, falls, and scratches the goddamn thing. I'm just
And her parents say you didn't even ask to see if Tara was okay. It
it's
could have really hurt her by falling on her, but there's a big ass scrape
yeah,
across
on
his
his
new
new
2019 bike.
And that's not the only thing she does on Michael's birthday. She embarrasses him in front of this girl that he likes by tripping him so he falls face first into his cake. She opens all of his gifts.
I know.
I'm just you little mother.
I know, that's terrible.
I'm getting so mad. I was so mad reading about this character, and we're just stuck with her throughout this book. So Michael decides to finally get Tara in trouble in a way that won't lead his parents back to him.
Mm-hmm.
So one night he goes downstairs, and when the cuckoo clock comes out, when it strikes 12 midnight, he takes the bird's head and he twists it backwards.
Mm-hmm.
And what happens is the next day, Michael wakes up and it's his birthday again.
Yeah, it's the morning of his birthday.
Yeah, all over again. It's the same exact day. It's like some Happy Death Day shit.
Yeah, his mom's like, don't go out in the garage. And he's like, why? Does it stink or is there something out there? He's like, no, don't go out there. And he goes and his bike is out there. He's like, didn't I just relive this?
Mm-hmm. Something I really like about this book is it combines two things for me.
Mm-hmm.
I really I want to say Groundhog Day movies or Groundhog Day stories where a character has to relive a certain day over and over again to see if they can do something different to alter it. Mm-hmm. And also I love birthday parties and Goosebumps books. If that's a weird thing. I don't
it's just I said, it's a whole nostalgia thing.
Yeah.
I think all of us probably had similar birthdays. They were having a birthday party at their house. friends came over, it wasn't something extravagant. It was like
Mm,
streamer and balloons and party hats and a big cake. And we probably all drank from those little jugs of like different flavored juices and like
yeah.
the Neapolitan ice cream. And here's some hot dogs, like just fun things like that. Yeah, and even in this book, because he's like, "Oh, Mona got me a present. It's probably a CD." Like CDs are kind of going out now. They're not
Yeah.
really,
Are they are they going out or are they coming back?
Cat there as like, yeah, it's just you can stream music so much now, and people are not really buying them. Vinyls are coming back, but yeah, it's just like this time capsule in these books because again, there's no camera phones. They're having to take pictures with disposable cameras, and they're talking about CDs, and it's just fun.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Just Tara's a horrible character, but the whole like environment of the the whole environment of or the themes of like a birthday party always just like a nostalgic smile to my face.
Yeah.
So Michael continues to read. This thing keeps popping up. So Michael continues to relive his birthday over and over again, and he does like some things to alter it. Like he knows when Tara is gonna trip him, so he falls on he
Hmm.
falls in the cake. So he tries to like slowly walk into the room, so he doesn't. So in case he spots like Tara's hands trying to reach out and grab his foot, and he gets pretty far, but she's hiding under the table this time, and she does grab his foot anyway, and she pulls him
Yeah.
down. I'm just like, you son of a.
Dang. Oh my gosh, I would not even be mad at my son. I would be mad at his sister. I can't imagine if Riley was older. Like the money that you spent on that cake, and it's supposed to be for him, and it's rent. Like that's what these parents. I am just appalled
Oh my
at
god,
the shit that they let her get away with.
his mom sucks too.
They
And like,
do.
not his dad. Like, I don't know. His dad was okay. Like, he wasn't really that much of a character, but his mom just constantly like rides him. Like,
Hmm.
she's always like, "Oh, treat your sister nice," and just like treat your like this like sibling shit. And it was like, do you know what your daughter does to your son when you're not around or you're not looking? She's always like, she's horrible to him,
Hmm.
and you're not like helping the situation. You are a terrible parent. And I don't know, if if your daughter did this stuff to Roman, what would you do?
Oh, I would snatch her up. Like take her to the back room. I would be so mad. I would be so mad. Because it's like it's your birthday. It's your day, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, she'll be 2 next week. And like even when it was
Oh,
his birthday in February, like she doesn't get to open his presents. Those are his presents. She can
yeah.
help. But it's like the one day you get that's yours. It shouldn't be taken away from you. That's crazy.
I agree. It just bothers me so much. This mom is she's such a bitch.
Yeah, the dad is kind of not there. I feel like
Yeah.
he's working, like he's trying to buy like cuckoo clocks. Like he's out, he's doing his job, and I don't know. It just I feel like that's something of the time too, because a lot of the Goosebumps books, the parents are either absent or they're there, but they're not really active. They're just kind of not involved. Like go on, you figure it out, kids.
I really the way I kind of see the parents in these books as kind of dismissive.
Hmm.
They don't really when their kids are telling them the stuff that's happening to them, the scary stuff. They're just kind of like they just shrug it off and just like, oh, it's just your imagination, or oh, you'll like get over it or so and so. I'm just like, listen to your kids. This shit is this shit is scary. It's happening to your kids, and you're just like dismissive of it. That's one of the
Yeah.
that's one of like the flaws I'm noticing more rereading this series. Just like the parents are just totally useless characters.
Yeah, they're
Once
just, you could
just
write this without them almost.
oh my gosh, I'm sorry. I'm just like there's just like I said, I am enjoying reading these books again,
Hmm.
but I'm just noticing more of them because
Yeah.
I like you, like I read, we've both read like more books since we were kids, like
Hmm.
more books with like better written characters, so you start to notice things more critically, and yeah, it's just like I want to love these books. I just have like my personal flaws with them and like the
Yeah.
characters and like some of the writing of it. So that
Mhm.
heated little like uh tangent aside,
Yeah, that's fine. I think that's
what
what he was going for.
yeah,
Is
these
he's trying to write this character for that purpose because he wants to elicit that response. Like, you're not supposed to root for Tara. You're not
no,
supposed to like her parents. You're supposed to be on Michael's side.
yeah,
That way when the ending happens, you're like, yeah, well, it'd be all right. The one thing I do wish this book was a little better on would be the timeline. Like, there's not really a designated specific time because it goes to yesterday for his
mm-hmm.
birthday. And then the next time he wakes up, the time jump, it's 2 days before his birthday. And then later on, it's like a few weeks. And then it's a few years. I wish it would be more consistent with that.
Yeah, I understand. I get that.
Yeah, just consistency. That way,
Yeah,
is
because
it
he
every, when you turn the clock, does time go back, 3 weeks every time, 3 years? But it's just very like 24 hours and 3 days.
yeah, you're right. It's not. I think it's because this book is so short.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and these are just kind of quick little anthology tales. Like
Hmm.
I don't. I mean, I just went into like a whole thing where like I wish the writing for the adults was a little better as the parents, but for like the spooky stuff that's happening, I just kind of like take it as it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is a like legit criticism because it is kind of inconsistent. He wakes up one day, it's his birthday again, but then he wakes up another day, he's in nursery school, and near the end of the book, he literally becomes a baby. But he has
Yeah.
like he has the mind he has the
His mind is still
mind
in there.
mind of a
Oh, how
12-year-old.
scary would that be? Almost
Waking up
like,
as a baby.
yeah, but like it's almost like being in a coma. Like, your
Mm,
mind is there, but your body is not functioning like you want it to.
yeah,
But I have that problem in other movies too. Like some of the Chucky movies, when he gets turned into a doll, I wish there was an established timeline on how long he needs to get his soul out of the doll into a person, because it
mm,
seems like with each movie the time is not the same.
yeah,
In Pet Cemetery, I need some time because, especially the remake, when people died and got buried, sometimes it was a week later, and then sometimes it was a day, and then sometimes they just got buried 15 minutes ago and they're coming back. Like, I just need consistency. But that's a me thing.
oh, I get that. I really do, I get that. So yeah, that's basically the whole spiel. The whole spiel of this book is Michael turned the head of the cuckoo clock, and now he's like going
Mhm.
backwards in time, and he has to get back. He has to turn the head of the bird back forward so he can get back to his own time. Because if he keeps going backward, he may not exist.
Right.
Because there's a point where he wakes up and his sister hasn't been born yet, which is a point and Slay revealed at the end of the book.
Oh yeah, and he was having such a great time.
Oh yeah.
He's like, "Oh, my parents are so loving. Like life is great."
Even when his sister was 2, she was a little shit.
See, now that I'm like, well, yeah, she's 2. She doesn't know any better. 7, you know better.
So, should we just like fast forward to the ending twist of the what
Yeah,
happens?
I was gonna say because each time, like I said, the first time he wakes up, it's 24 hours. It goes and does his birthday again, and then it's 3 days before his birthday, and he's in crisis because that was before his dad purchased the cuckoo clock. So you got
Mm-hmm.
2 things going on in the story. You got to get to the antique shop where his dad bought it because it's not in his house anymore, and you have like an actual ticking clock because the countdown is on. If he doesn't get to the clock, then he's gonna be disappeared.
Exactly.
Or
Or
what if he woke up and he was a sperm inside his dad? Like how far does it go back?
oh my! I never thought about that,
How
but
weird. Or in his mom. Like he could be in 2 places at one time, half egg, half sperm.
oh my!
How weird would that be? Yeah, because so he goes back, and then I think he's in before Tara was born, and he was talking about being in 3rd grade instead of 7th grade, and the math was super easy, and he hated it. And then it went back to when he was like 4 or 5 years old, and he was in preschool, and his mom dressed him in like the cowboy outfit. Yeah, but he was an actual like 1-year-old baby when they went to the antique store to try to turn the head back around, I think.
I think as we get older, we definitely become more nostalgic about the past. But
Mm-hmm.
if we actually had the chance to go back in time and relive those days, I don't think it would be as glamorous as we remember it being. I mean, what if you had the chance to go back to your childhood and you had to like relive all the good times and the bad? Would you do it?
If I had my brain now,
Yeah.
I don't know. Would it affect my future if I did something? Because that would be the thing. I'd only want to relive the good days. Like go like the best days that I could remember, go and just hang out for like 24 hours and then come back. But I wouldn't want my future to be affected, like the butterfly effect, if you go and, I chose this school to go to after high school, how that would affect my future.
Uh,
If I knew it or not. So I don't know. What do you
I
think? What would you do?
I think I would be in the same boat as you. I would I would want to go back to if I only had one day to
Mm-hmm.
go to any point in time in my past. Um, I think I would go back to when my grandma was alive
Mm-hmm.
because I would love to see her again in person. Like I would just like even just to spend a day at her house with her. Just
Yeah.
probably one of the like best days I could ever have because she's the person who kind of unintentionally got me into like the horror genre because she was the one
Mhm.
who let me like watch horror movies. I was like late night cable and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So she was very like special when I was growing up.
I see. I don't know if I'd want to go back in my childhood because all the really good stuff that's happened in my life has been like since I turned 25 and up. I've enjoyed way more, you know? So maybe I was like, if I can think of it like a perfect day in my childhood just to go and relive that and come back, that would be okay. But maybe going like one of the vacations that I went on.
Personally speaking, I think I think it would be better if these memories just remain memories because
Mhm.
you just remember, you look at them fondly, and you don't really have to relive them. You could just like remember all the good stuff and not necessarily
Yeah.
have to like you don't have to live through the bad stuff again
Yeah.
because it's already done.
Yeah, you can't do anything about it. I don't want to
Mm.
dwell too much on the past or in the future. Like I want to try to appreciate today
Yeah,
and not stress out, because even the boring and mundane days, you need to appreciate them.
that's similar to what Edna Mode says in The Incredibles. It's like she's like, I don't focus on the past, honey. I live in like it takes away from the now.
Yeah. I got that from The Thief of Always, actually, because that book, I don't know, reading it, if I read it this year for the first time, but if I read it when I was younger, it wouldn't have affected me so much. But just, now, that's one of the quotes from the book is he's like, well, I just took away, your boring and your mundane days that meant nothing to you. And now you're begging me to have them back.
Mm.
So,
Even the mundane days is what makes every day special.
mhm,
You know, it's all just a part of life.
yeah, it's usually the best. I mean, every day can't be like a 10 out of 10,
Yeah,
you wake up, just the waking up in itself is a privilege because none of us know when our last day is going to be.
yeah, you're right. Wow, we're getting pretty deep here.
this book,
This book
just
is
like just
we're
like
getting
this guy, he didn't appreciate turning 12, and now at the end of the book, he's 1. And he's trying to make it. He's like, "Oh no, if I go to sleep tonight, I might not be here anymore."
so
It's so interesting how it just affects him, though. So, if he
yeah.
disappeared, would it keep going back in time? Because his parents don't seem to be affected.
Well, there was that scene where he told them that he was reliving the same day as his family was reliving the same day too,
Yeah.
and they did this like I think it was just a mean thing where they pretended to like speak backwards and they were like doing their
Yeah.
motions backwards to like think he was like uh actually like they were making fun of him
They were making
essentially.
fun of him. And then they're like, well, you either had a bad dream or it's deja vu. Like, so.
I'm just like I don't like the parents in this book. I don't like the parents. I don't like the sister. I'm only rooting for Michael.
Yeah.
So we get to the finale, and he's officially a baby now. And
Hmm.
his mom takes him to where his dad works. He works across the street from the antique store where the cuckoo clock is at, and they're looking for his parents are looking for a table because they're having guests over for the night, and they get into this pointless argument, and he gets out of the stroller and toddles on his little chubby toddler legs
Yeah.
up to the cuckoo clock because he knows that this is the last time, this is his last chance before who knows what's going to happen to him. So he gets up there and he crawls on top and he manages to twist the head of the bird around forward, and he there's a dial on the side of the thing that tells the year, and he spins the year to the correct time, which I'm assuming is 1995.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's like there's a flash of light, and he finds himself back in front of his parents. He's 12 again, and they're in the garage and they're showing off his bike. Only this time, someone's missing.
Yeah. They're like, "Where's Tara?" He's like, "Where's Tara?"
And they're like, "Well, who's Tara? Is that a girl that you invited to your party?"
Mm-hmm.
And he runs all around.
I remember sending an invitation to a Tara.
We don't know his parents are like, "We don't know any Tara."
Yeah, and then they're like, "Oh, you must have a crush on a girl." I'm like, "No."
Typical like embarrassing.
Yeah, they're still giving him a hard time in this new universe.
So he runs around the house looking for Tara. He finds that her room is not her room anymore. It's the guest bedroom.
Mm-hmm.
And so he just thinks, oh, well, I guess she'll show up when she shows up. He goes and has this party, and this time it's actually a great party because he gets to have his cake.
Mm-hmm.
One of his, the girl he has a crush on, Mona, like one of her friends tells him that she has a crush on him too.
Yeah.
He gets to open his presents, and it's just an overall great day because Tara isn't there to ruin it.
Mm-hmm.
And then when Michael's dad brings home the cuckoo clock, they look for the flaw on it, and they discover that a piece of a plate from the side of the dial, the year 1998, is missing.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the year that Tara was born, and it's gone. So Tara doesn't exist in this universe. And Michael looks at the clock, and he's just like, well, I'm sure there's a way to go back in time to rescue her, and I will rescue her someday. Someday. Yeah. Maybe. I don't know. Who cares? I don't know.
I know.
And book ends.
Some way to go back. I guess I ought to do that one of these days. Maybe.
I'm like, when I read that, I was just like, good for him.
I know.
Good for him.
It's like, okay.
You know what? You deserve. Okay. I don't want. Here's what I think about it.
Uh-huh.
Tara was a horrible person. There's no doubt about that. But she was a little kid. And what happens to little kids? They grow up. They mature. They get older and they learn like the error of their ways, right?
Hopefully.
I mean some do, some don't. I mean Michael is so happy that Tara is not there to ruin his life anymore. So he's going to take advantage of the situation. He may or may not go back in time to rescue Tara. I'm guessing at some point he does go back in time to bring Tara back. This poor kid just wanted a break.
He just wants a break.
He just wants a break from this pestering, bratty little sister.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so understandable. So I would say, like, it's good for him that he chose not to go back in time to rescue his sister. Because
maybe when the internet comes out and he can actually surf the web and find, because he doesn't know how to go back. He's got to figure it out first.
Yeah, and he doesn't want to. After what he just went through, I don't think he wants to. I don't think he would want to risk that again at least not immediately.
Yeah.
He would want to take some time away to kind of just like live like a peaceful life without this constant harassment from Tara.
Let him get through high school. Like after his high school graduation, if he's
Yeah,
going to
yeah,
college, then bring her
yeah.
back because then he can leave the house and he
Yes,
can
yes,
enjoy.
exactly.
Give him six
Exactly.
years.
Just give him some time away.
Yeah.
He'll bring Tara back eventually.
Yeah, he'll figure it out. Like I said, by that point, the internet's a thing. He can research stuff, figure out how to
Mm.
do it. It'll be fine.
It
So, what did you
was
give this one?
I gave this one a 4 star as
A
well.
4 star too.
I really enjoyed this.
Mm-hmm.
I really, you know, I have siblings of my own. They're not
Yeah.
they're not nearly as bad as Tara is. They're older. They're older now, so we just kind of do our own things. We don't really like bother each other. But I understand like where he's coming from. I mean, do you have any siblings of your own? Like, I mean,
I have two younger brothers. Yeah.
I mean, do they like bug you the way that Tara did?
No, my situation was different though, because I had like only child syndrome. I only saw them on the weekends because of like divorce and custody issues. So my first brother is 6 years younger than I. My second one is 9 years younger. We always got along. I think it was just because we only saw each other 2 days a week. And it was fun when we did see each other. So
So you guys had more of a relationship that like Eddie and Sue had
yeah.
than
Hmm.
than these
Yeah.
two.
For sure. I was like, we didn't live in the same house. So,
Yeah, I mean, I think Stein is really good at writing like relationships with
mhm.
siblings. I mean, there's another book in this series. There's another book that we're talking about where there's a that perfect middle. There's a perfect middle between like they're kind of annoying, but they're also
Mhm.
really loving toward each other.
Right.
So yeah, that's Cuckoo Clock of Doom.
Mhm.
it's
Yeah,
really
I
enjoyable.
love that one. The actress that plays Tara in the Goosebumps series, they casted her so well.
Oh yeah.
She was very annoying. I thought she did great.
Okay, so where are we? Okay.
So we're on book number 3, number 29 from, there we go.
Oh, you can hear that.
Yeah.
I got
From
the thing
March
going.
95. This is our first like sequel that we got. Number 3, Monster Blood 3. Mine actually is pretty crisp on this one.
Yeah, mine is too. I'm kind of surprised to see as old as these books are. They're in really good condition.
Yeah, I don't think this one. Okay, this is a first edition. First Scholastic printing, March 95, number 1. Yeah.
Yeah, I got that one too. Let's see on the bottom.
Yep. Very good. So what is your relationship with Monster Blood? Because there's 4 of these. I have not read the 4th one. I've only read Monster Blood 1, 2, and 3. Do, 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 do. Oh no, we got kicked off the internet. Maybe he'll be back. I'm by myself. How's it going, everybody? Monster Blood has stolen my partner. Maybe he'll be back in a little bit because he's the one in charge, not me. Mm. Well, dang, we were doing so well too. Book 3. Well, look for part 2. Goodbye, weirdos. We'll return shortly. Oh, I think we're back. I think you're good.
Oh, come on.
Mm. Mm.
Are we back?
I am. I can hear you.
You hear me?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me okay?
Yes. I am.
Oh,
I am so sorry, Heather.
oh no. I was like,
My
the
my
monster blood got him.
no my laptop wasn't charged, so it just died on me.
Oh.
Yeah, we've been talking for a while.
Yeah, I was going to say, oops.
Yeah. Oops.
Well, that's all
I'm
right.
just glad the stream is still going.
Yeah, I know. I was like, oh no.
Okay, so we were talking about Monster Blood 3.
Yes.
You asked me what my overall thoughts on the series
Yeah.
was.
What's your relationship with 1, 2, and 3 since it is a sequel?
The thing with me with Monster Blood is it's a series I'm not too impressed with.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of just a it's an it's an okay series. I just don't I don't really care for it.
See, I don't either. It sounds cool, but I don't know. I think the first one is the best. I wasn't a big fan of part 2
No, me
at
either.
all with Cuddles the hamster. I think I gave part 1 a 3 out of 5 stars. Part 2, I gave a 2 star. And then I gave this one a 3 star as well. I think I like it a little better than part 2, but not fantastic.
No. And there's 3 more books in this series so far.
Yeah.
There's one in Goosebumps Horrorland. Actually, there's 2 in Goosebumps. There's one in Goosebumps Horrorland, and then there's one in like the Slappy series, or what's it
Okay.
called, like a Slappy World. And then there's of course like the very last Goosebumps book in the OG series, the 4th Monster Blood. What a way to end the OG series on is Monster Blood of
Yeah.
all things. I mean,
I know. I haven't read that one yet.
I haven't either. But I'm not really my expectations for it are just kind of probably hovering around the same as the first 3.
Yeah.
Okay, so Monster Blade 3 is I don't know. I don't I didn't I did not hate it as much as like Monster Blade 2, but the overarching like feelings of this whole story, it just I don't know, it just doesn't really do anything for me.
Yeah.
So in this book, we're following Evan and Andy again, and this time
Again.
he's
Uh-huh.
following he's following his friend, or not his friend, his cousin Kermit. He has like Kermit. I don't want to say he's as bad as a character as like Tara, but he's still a little pain in the ass. At least for like at least like when we first meet him, because he's constantly like getting Evan into trouble, and
Mm-hmm.
he's mouthing off to Conan, this big bully. Which what is with like R.L. Stein writing bullies? I mean,
I don't know. I was like,
it's just
was
like
I like this back then or
it
his
just feels like
name? Yeah, Conan Barber. The school calls him Conan the
the
Barbarian.
barbarian.
I'm like, okay, that's a little on the nose, sir.
Hmm. I don't know, he writes these kids all the same. And at the first book, it was the Beamer twins. He just describes them
Mm-hmm.
as having like these big bulging like muscles, and they wear like these long baggy pants and muscle shirts, and just like, okay, we get it, they're big. So what? So what? Do they have a personality? Shit, it's just like different. Like they have different names, but they're basically cut from the same loin.
Mm-hmm.
I just, oh my god, it just bothers me so much when he has to insert one of these stupid like, oh look at me, I'm so big and tough, I'm gonna pound you. Look at my big beefy fist. I'm like, shut the fuck up, dude. Come on, you are embarrassing yourself. God. So Evan has to watch his cousin Kermit, and he's just like, he's just tired of Kermit's like shit. And when I was reading it, when I was reading this, I kept calling him Kevin.
Kevin.
Kevin, because
Aw.
Kermit and Evan combined, it just formed Kevin.
Kevin.
I was like, what a weird name too. Like, why would you call your kid? Why would you name your kid Kermit? Unless he's
Um,
unless he's a frog.
but he says he looks like a rat or a
Yeah,
mouse.
he looks
Yeah.
like a mouse.
He doesn't even look like a frog. He looks like a mouse.
Yeah, because he's got like these big spectacle like eye glasses, and his nose is like turned a certain way.
He's really, really pale and got like
Yeah,
super blonde hair that's almost white. And
he's a
yeah.
towhead.
Yep.
So to get like forward on this, they've just had Andy and Evan. They're just sick of watching him, so they concoct a plan where they're gonna take monster blood and put it in one of his mixtures, so it just explodes in his face. And
Mm-hmm.
when they do this, it does end up like it explodes and expands this mixture on him. Uh, but ultimately, it gets some of the mixture gets inside Evan, and Evans literally starts to grow into a giant.
Yeah.
Is that the point where we're supposed to be scared?
It's just, it gets so bizarre because
It's like,
Kermit is 8 years old, but he's like, he reminds me of a young Sheldon from Big Bang Theory. He's just math
yeah,
and science is his thing. And he's really smart and he's always making mixtures in the basement and everything. And yeah, this one's just so goofy.
you know who he reminds me of?
Ew.
A combination of Minkus from Boy Meets World and Dylan from Halloween Town.
Okay, I can see that.
Yeah, he's a very. I was giving him like this very kind of nasally voice when I was reading in his voice, just like he's very like scientific. He's very
Hmm.
I guess logical about things. But then he sees like his cousin start to literally become gigantic, and he's like, "I want some of the monster blood. I want to grow into a giant too."
Yeah. This one we
Yeah,
actually get to see like other adults, like teachers and
yeah,
police.
yeah. It's a very large cast this time around, and
There's a dog. I was like, I know he usually puts dogs or some kind of pet, which the last two didn't. He's got interesting names. Like this is Trigger. They're usually Cocker Spaniels too.
yeah, cocker spaniels, golden retrievers.
Hmm.
It's like, are there any other like breeds of dog that you want to include, or are these the only two popular
Yeah,
ones that
I
you
was like,
know of?
you know.
Oh, there's a sheepdog too.
He's got, yeah, they're weird names like Whitey, Trigger, Dogface. Like,
Dogface. That was it.
yeah, very interesting names. Yes, that's kind of the catalyst of the book is Evan accidentally opens his mouth when he's going to eat chocolate, and
Mhm.
monster blood gets down his throat and on his clothes. So his clothes and his person just keep growing.
it's not really a surprise because the same exact thing happened in Monster Blood 2.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, he
like,
took
the
yeah,
dog Trigger ate it in the first one.
he grew
It's
big.
he grew big, like, he was bigger than a horse, and then Cuddles, the hamster, ate it and got bigger, so now it's just a human. But he's, like, going out and playing kickball, and he's a giant, but he's
Yeah,
integrating himself. And I thought it
I
was
was
funny
like,
when the cops are like, "Are you an alien?" And he's like, "No, my name is Evan Ross." I'm like, "So you just told them your name?" And then when he gets
yeah,
normal size, he still has the same name, still wearing the same clothes. It's bonkers.
I was having a hard time like visualizing when the scene where he went to the baseball field and the kids wanted him to play with them
Yeah.
because he's so big. They never wanted him to play with them before, but now that he's like a giant, like he said that he was like holding a bat he was holding the bat down by his knees. I'm just like,
Mhm.
okay, you're describing yourself as like you're 2 stories tall now,
Right.
and uh you basically before this he broke a freaking like a baseball bat like a toothpick when he took it away from Conan because Conan was bothering
Mhm.
some kids, and Conan was the one who brought all the police and everyone to the park. So I'm just having a hard time like I was just having a hard time like visualizing, okay, how big or little are you?
Yeah, how
And
big is
there's
he? And
also
then how
like
come
there was a yeah, there was also
it's
like
just
I
crazy.
noticed there was a I don't think this matters, but I noticed that there was an inconsistency with one of the Monster Blood 2. Stein said that Cuddles went on a rampage around the school, and
Mhm.
he didn't. Like, Cuddles was confined into the classroom. That's where Evan and Andy brought the wheel in, and then
Right.
Evan ingested the monster blood so he could fight Cuddles, but he didn't like rampage around the school. So I think his like mind was just kind of like overwhelmed or just like dry. I don't want to say like dried out, but like it's hard to keep up with all these books and like notice or remember little details about what stuff happened.
Yeah, this one I didn't remember as much because it wasn't one of my favorite ones, and it was just kind of he's big. Yeah, it was one.
Yeah,
I forget what it was. I don't remember who fell, but there's a line that R.L. Stein uses a lot. It's they fell on their knees and elbows. And that is such an awkward way to fall on your knees and elbows. I remember it like in Be Careful What You Wish For, Samantha, the girl that was super clumsy. It was in that a lot. Any kid that falls, I've noticed that they fell on their knees and elbows. And then, like, so this one is actually in Georgia. They say it's in Atlanta, Georgia. And
mm-hmm.
Andy was drinking something and she said, "Ooh, that tea was so sweet it almost made my teeth fall out."
Yeah, it was orange.
Or
It
it
was
made my
orange
yeah,
soda.
it made my teeth itch. It's like, what?
It's what carbonated beverages do to you.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy.
So yeah, that's basically Monster Blood 3. It's just like
It
if
really is. It's Kermit trying to figure out how to make him small and just going through different chemical formulas, which one will work and which one won't.
yeah, it was it was near the end of the book when they tried a different like variety of experiment experimentations on Evan to make him small again,
Mm-hmm.
and so they didn't have any any results other than just like one turned his skin blue, another one grew feathers on him, but it was still the
Yeah.
same size. And then at the very very end of the book is Kev. See, I keep saying Kevin.
Kevin.
Evan. Evan shrinks down to like a doll size,
Mm-hmm.
and because the solution that Kermit gave him was too powerful, so he went from being really big to really tiny. And so I don't know how that's gonna match up with Monster Blood 4. I guess it's just gonna be retconned again.
Yeah. I don't know. Like Monster Blood 4, it looks like blue creatures or purple creatures on the
Yeah,
front cover.
yeah.
So I don't know what that's about. I'm interested just to see what the fourth one would be.
I mean, that's basically it. It's just
Yeah.
they're like blue ballooning slugs or something. I think that was the point where Stein just wanted to like he just started writing shit up, just making shit up
Yeah.
because there was a lot of books in this series alone. This series had like 60 books or
Mm-hmm.
61 I should say.
62. Yeah. Something like
62.
that.
Yeah, it was just near the tail end, and there was a lot of like legal stuff going on with Scholastic at the time and the publishers, and there was like uh there was uh there was like a legal statement, there was like a legal battle and about like whether Stein was actually writing these books or if he was like hiring ghostwriters to like
Really?
write the yeah.
Huh.
There's like a whole I did like a documentary video on like what went down with Scholastic and like the Parachute Press at the time of what these books were coming out. I was just like, oh, it's really interesting.
Oh, all right. I'll have to look that up. I did not know that.
So you said you gave this 3 stars, right?
I gave it a 3. It was a very generous 3 because, like I said, some of the
Uh,
stuff they were saying was so stupid. It made me laugh out loud. But I could be convinced to go to a 2.5. Like, it was fine. It
yeah.
was all right.
Uh, I think I gave it a 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a 2 out of 5. I'm just kind of indifferent to this series. It's not horrible. I mean, it's not great.
Yeah.
It's not like a Night in Terror Tower good, but
No,
I
I'm
think
not.
it's
Yeah, the same. I don't hate it. I don't love it. Like it's just fine. I liked it more than Monster Blood 2. I think that's why I
yeah.
gave it a 3.
So yeah, that's overall thoughts on Monster Blade 3. It's it's fine. It's whatever.
It's fine.
Okay. So you're ready to move on to the last two?
Yeah. So now we're in the 30s.
Okay. Let's talk about a good book for a change.
I know. I like this one too. It came from beneath the sink. I love this cover. That
Me,
is
t-
so creepy.
me too.
They did such a good job on this. It looks so menacing.
That's one of the things that drew a generation of kids to these books is the freaking cover art.
Yeah, I can't think of the
Tim
illustrator. Tim, that's
Tim
right.
Tim Jacobus.
Jacobus, that's right. I was like, oh my gosh, I was
It's
gonna
like
write that down.
the cover art of these books. It's just oh my god, it was just like candy. Like you looked at these covers and you were just like, what is this about? Like
Mm-hmm.
I wanted like that's what that's like draws you in. That's why these books became so popular is because the cover art just sold these kids. These were like freaking like these were like crack for kids.
I know.
We
They're
could
so fun.
yeah, we could not get enough of these books and we just like forked over the money to pay for them. And I don't think many of us regret it, so All right. So, what did you think of It Came from Beneath the Sink?
I liked this one too. Not one of my favorites, but very entertaining. I do like a good cursed object.
In this case, it's a sponge.
It's a sponge. I was like, what? A
Okay,
gruel. Called a gruel.
gruel.
Yeah, so this is another one of his where it's a family moving
Yeah,
to a new house.
this is a really nice house, by the way. He
Mm-hmm.
said it's like he said it's huge. It's like I guess it's like 3 stories. It has 2 balconies. It has a lawn.
Yeah.
Has a lawn the size of a football stadium. I'm just like, man, where do these parents like? What do these people do for a living to get these kind of insane, but these insane houses? But they're only slightly dented up. They only need like slight fixing because they have like occasionally like a toppled shutters or like a grass needs mowing. But you're still living in a mansion.
Yeah. It's probably a murder house or something.
Yeah, a murder
Because
house.
the person there died, but we don't know how. Trying to see the siblings in this one is
It
Kat
was
and
Katrina,
Daniel,
Katrina and Daniel.
and what their age differences were.
I think Kat is 12 and
Oh.
Daniel is 10.
Yeah, it's gonna say another older sister, younger brother.
I guess
With the dog named Killer.
killer. Mm.
Hmm. I was looking to see what kind of dog he was. Yeah, he does this thing where he's very descriptive with what the kids look like. I have brown hair and brown eyes, and my sister has blue eyes and brown hair, and this is Killer. He's a Cocker Spaniel or something like that. You kind of get a description, and I'm 12 and I'm 13. Yeah, but they move into this big mansion. They're unboxing, and Cat is the one that Killer is growling at something. And there's something under the sink, hence the title. It came from beneath the sink, and it's a sponge that she says is alive. It has eyes and a mouth, and it breathes, and it makes a weird noise.
Mm.
And ever since they found the sponge, weird accidents and bad luck starts happening.
Yes, because this thing feeds off of people's misfortunes.
Mm-hmm.
And the first thing that happens when they discover it is Daniel bumps his head under the sink
Mm-hmm.
when they were like fighting over it. And then Kat goes to help her dad in the living room because he's installing a light, and the ladder falls over, and he ends up spraining his ankle.
Ankle. Yep.
So I related to this book so much because I'm a person who has a lot of bad luck happen in my family because one of our relatives was, according to my mom, one of my early relatives was a hanging judge.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he was a hanging judge. I forgot what time he existed in or lived in,
Mm-hmm.
but I think all that karma of him like hanging all those people came and soured our family's lineage. So
Oh.
that's why we don't have the greatest luck ever. So yeah, having bad luck is something I relate to. So that's why I really like this book. Like I didn't think I thought it was just going to be okay about it, but I had a really good time like reading it. Like this one
Mm-hmm.
was so fun,
It was
and the
fun.
and the
I did
character,
enjoy it.
yeah, and the characters in this one, they are one of the characters in this one are similar to like Eddie and Sue. They
Mm-hmm.
didn't get on my nerves like a lot of Goosebumps characters do. They brother and sister, they obviously were siblings, so they had like their disagreements, but they were so likable. They uh they worked together, so they
Mm-hmm.
weren't constantly like butting heads about stupid stuff, and they were just so kind of they were just so understandable and likable, and they were smart too,
Yeah.
and they were fighting against something that they did like Daniel particularly was doing research on what this thing actually was and where it came from. And so it wasn't just like, oh, what are we gonna do? We don't understand. Like, well, what was like? No, they had to do like research and understand what this thing was that they're up against. And they were actually really intelligent in that matter. So it's
Mm-hmm.
refreshing to see like a couple of kids actually use their heads to fight something against some to fight to use their heads to battle against something they don't fully understand.
Yeah, that was always fun. I could imagine like a montage where like he went to the library and was looking in the encyclopedia for the weird,
Mm-hmm.
like doing a little research, trying to figure out what exactly this sponge is. It reminded me of Jennifer's Body. Like, there's an occult section in the library. It's really
we have
small. He was talking about, oh, we got
we
this
have an occult section.
encyclopedia. Yeah. It's really small. Yeah, but we got this encyclopedia for the weird because, again, internet was very, very young, probably non
Yeah,
existent in the schools. There, he's looking things up in books. And it's like, oh, I found this encyclopedia for the weird, and it's called a gruel because they were talking about getting rid of the sponge, but apparently you can't do that because in the
and
book, if you get rid of the sponge, you die like quite
yeah,
soon, the
it's got
next
a
day or the next
it,
week.
it's got a death
It's
curse.
got a death curse on it. Yeah, and because Kat found it, it's attached to her.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, the book says that it feeds off bad luck and misfortune, and you can't destroy it by violent means. Because at one point, they even brought it into the school. She was wanting to show the science teacher about it, and they're like,
Yeah.
it's just a sponge. Like,
I love her. I love the I love the teacher's reaction to it, where she just looks at it and then she just like drops it back into like Katrina's hand like it's a piece of
yeah,
trash.
like, here you go.
Just like this is a sponge. Here you go. Bonk.
Yeah, because Daniel goes to the library. He said it's a gruel, which is Grool, and he said it's an ancient and mythological creature. And Kat says mythological, that means it's not real. And he's like, no, keep reading. The gruel does not eat food. It does not drink water. Instead, it gets its strength from luck, specifically bad luck. It always is known as a bad luck charm. Bad things happen around it. It can't be killed by force or violent means. You can't give it away or toss it aside, and the owner will die within a day. Okay, so it did have a time. It dies within a day if you get rid of it. So there you go.
Shorter than Samara's timeline.
Yeah. You at least get 7 days to get your
Yeah.
affairs together, get you.
Trying to think of like the Scary Movie 3 references to that.
Oh, yeah.
Does it get like do it get like President's Day off or something? No. Well, why not? Everybody else is taking the day off. Like, bitch, I'm giving you your 7 days. Like, you just cut the crap, or I'll just come and kill you myself. So, yeah, the things that happen, the bad luck that happens to this family, or actually to Katrina, or the people surrounding her, is her teacher like ends up crushing her fingers in when she's closing a desk drawer, which
Yeah, that was weird. How do you? Okay.
I don't think that had anything to do with the girl. I think her teacher's just clumsy. Who freaking like she was reaching into her drawer to like grab out a stack of assignments for her class, and did she just like close the freaking drawer too hard? Like
Yeah.
the girl doesn't have like hands or feet. It didn't physically like grab her hand in, or the drawer didn't pull it shut to like smash her fingers. Like, actually, like that does not make any sense to me. And then at this other point in the book, Katrina is really excited because her birthday is upcoming. Another birthday themed. And her parents are like, she's excited because she's going to Wonder Park.
Wonder Park. That sounds fun.
Yeah, it really does. Like, like, it has like water slides and a wave pool, and like this has roller coasters, and it just sounds like a blast. But she finds out like the day on her birthday is raining, and I'm pretty sure it has something to do with the gruel that caused it.
That just canceled.
That's a bummer. And her friends can't even come over because the house is being repainted. Yeah. I'm just like, oh man. That's gotta suck.
It's good they didn't, because people would have gotten buckets of paint and ladders falling on them if they would have come over.
That's true. So the gruel ends up they end up burying the gruel in the yard, and they're happy because they think they finally got rid of all the luck. But come the next morning, they find out that the yard is completely like dead.
Yeah.
it's dead. She said it looks like a desert because the grass is like died, all the flowers are dead. So she has to go out and dig it up, and she's understandably frustrated with this. She's keeping it in a gerbil cage, and this whole time this thing is just like mocking her and laughing at her. This little he thing.
I know.
And then her Daniel's friend Carlo comes and takes it away when he's staying over. And then something happens, so they have to go out and get it back. And she actually goes into like a storm drain, which anytime a storm drain is brought up where a kid is involved, I immediately go to it.
Go to Pennywise. Storm drains.
I was like, I hope the gruel is down there, because if Pennywise is down there with you, he could just like put an end to it. Sadly, there's no sewer clown though. It's just rats.
No, that's worse.
I think I would take the sewer clown.
I'm gonna take the sewer clown. Gonna get the plague with rats.
So I think they eventually find the gruel again, or Carlo. They find it being tossed back and forth between guys, or like older guys. Another funny thing when I was reading this, I think I was just like speed reading to this book. So one of the kids had like really blonde hair, and I read it as like this guy's like blonde boyfriend. Like it's like there was a space between like boy and friend, but my brain was just like push them together to make blonde boyfriend. I was just like, oh my God. I was just cracking myself up. Like, what am I reading? What? Oh,
making up your own story.
Making up my own words. Yeah, exactly. Making up my own story. So, yeah, they get the gruel back. They take it back to the house, but not before Katrina falls off her bike. Her freaking bike tire gets popped by a glass bottle. It's like, come on, man. They
Yeah,
take it.
she can't catch a break.
Stuff just keeps happening to her. So they take it into the house, and they're so frustrated with this. They shove it down into the garbage disposal, and they try to destroy it that way. But this thing is like a freaking, I don't know, it's like a
You can't
mogwai.
kill
Can't kill
it.
it. It just keeps coming back. This thing just gurgles back up the sink with water. And it was at this point where the ending reminded me so much of the ending of Ernest Scared Stupid.
I
Because
haven't seen that in so long. I don't even remember.
okay, well, they discover that you can't kill this thing with violence, with fury, as they've been trying to do. You have to destroy it with love.
Mm-hmm.
So Katrina takes the gruel in her hands, and she starts like coddling it and talking like baby talk to it. And this thing, it's like when it's angry or when it's like relishing in people's misfortunes, it starts to like glow different colors,
Right.
and it starts like panting and breathing like quickly. So when she like when she starts like nurturing this thing, it starts shrinking and like getting smaller and smaller, and then she ends up kissing it, just like how Ernest discovers the way to destroy Trantor at the end of the movie was to not fight it, but to give it compassion.
Okay.
And the thing ends up shrinking down to like, I guess like a ball of dust, and she just blows it away, and that's the end of the gruel.
Hmm. Yeah, but this one has a dun dun dun.
Yeah,
This killer comes back.
yeah. Is that the only surprise they discover?
Yeah, and he's got a potato in his mouth.
Something they call a
A
lynx.
lynx, yeah. It's a cousin to the gruel. It's potato with a mouth full of teeth.
Yeah, and this thing does, it latches onto you and will feed on you until your life force is gone.
Like a vampire
Or
potato.
or a leech.
Uh-huh. Sucking your energy.
It's up to you to decide which one is worse.
Yep, and that's how it ends. So he brings back a potato full of teeth, and you're like, uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Yeah,
That's what Stein does, though. He just leaves his books on cliffhangers. And
that one sentence at the end of the
just
book.
like every other chapter is a cliffhanger to like keep you reading. I don't know. And we never got a continuation, so we don't know what happened to these
Yeah.
characters after that. I just assumed that they're all dead.
Oh, you think they're dead? I was like, oh, I think they went and got the Book of Weird and figured out how to destroy the potato creature, the lynx. They should probably just subscribe to that whole encyclopedia. Since that's got two mythological creatures in one week. Yeah, because that's why the sponge latched onto her because the former person was dead. So I'm assuming it was the previous owner of the house, which is probably why it's like it's a murder house. That's why they got it for so cheap. The previous owner died there.
And also, the parents in this one didn't infuriate me as much as the ones in
No,
Cuckoo Clock.
yeah, they didn't. They were mostly just, trying to fix the house up, painting it,
Mm-hmm.
trying to get her birthday party in order. They were there. They weren't dismissive or anything like
Yeah.
that. What did you give this book?
I gave it 4 stars as
You
well.
gave it 4? I gave this one 3. It was fun, but not one of my favorites.
I think I would rate this one pretty high. Like in terms
Yeah,
of like
too.
how I would rank them, I think this one would be pretty high. Like what are the books that have the most like intrigue or the ones that leave you kind of wanting more? Why don't they get more sequels or continuations?
Yeah.
We
I
really
thought
need
it was interesting. I mean, the cover is gorgeous. The
mm-hmm.
concept of it, like you don't get any evil sponges out there.
No.
It's just super fun.
Yeah. I really liked it.
Hmm.
So we're gonna move into the last book.
Last one, third
Our
one. Another
our
sequel.
our return of our favorite living dummy.
Yeah.
And
Dun, dun. Yep, this one. I was gonna say this one's pretty good too.
my copy is kind of banged up.
That one's banged up. I was gonna say
Yeah.
this one's pretty pristine.
Yeah, yours has got the library's tag on it, I think. On the back.
On the back. Yep.
So, what are your overall thoughts on Slappy as a character? Did you do you
I
like
like
him?
I like Slappy as a character. It's just so interesting because in the first Night of the Living Dummy, like this is Slappy, but the character in the first book is Mr. Wood. You don't get Slappy until the very end.
Mm-hmm.
So he's a fun character. I'm just not much for dolls. This one I read today, but I kind of read through it more skimming than anything. And I'm like, it was all right. This one we have 3 siblings though, instead of 2. Because I think in the first Night of the Living Dummy, it was twins.
Yeah, it was
That was the one that was twins that they both had dummies.
it was Linda and Chris in the first one.
Hmm.
This one has Amy, Sarah, and Jed.
Jed. Yeah, there's 3 of them. Yeah, see the first page is what it was saying. Like they have Thursday night. It's Thursday's family sharing night. I'm like, oh, already.
Yeah. I was
Oh
like,
my eyes. Oh, I was like, oh no.
what?
So
Like
you
every
go
week?
from, yeah, these are overly involved people.
Oh, yeah.
What do you have to
Yes.
share? It's a family tradition.
Oh god.
I don't really remember much about this one except for like Slappy did shenanigans and like
Well,
there was more Latin reading that you shouldn't read the Latin.
well, in this one, Amy she wants a new ventriloquist dummy because her current one, Dennis, his head literally keeps falling off whenever she
Yeah.
uses him. So she begs her dad to find one that's affordable, and eventually does at a pawn shop.
Mm-hmm.
As he describes it, I don't know why he sold him. I don't know why he sold it to me so cheap. Like, um, he practically gave it away. I'm just like, well, dude, there's probably a reason for that.
Yep.
Um, so as you will with like most I know living dummy books, like she gets Slappy, and of course she reads the words that brings him to life, and all this stuff starts happening, and she's the one who gets blamed for it, and she's like, Amy is in turmoil because just like, it's not me, I'm not doing these horrible things. Like, it's completely disarray, and her parents are just like, oh well, we should just like, should we just take you to a doctor or something? Should we
Yeah,
take you to a doctor? Do
do
you need
you need to
medication?
see a psychologist or something?
I'm like, come on, guys, you're just like, this is like, this is like top tier parenting for these guys. This is one of the things this is like one of the things I really don't like in these books is like the parents always feel the same. When your kid tells you like, oh, I think the dummy is alive and just like doing all these awful things, your first response is, oh, should we take you to a doctor? It's in every freaking Slappy book that I've read.
Yeah.
I'm just
Oh,
like,
okay. Yeah, that is true. It was in the first one.
no, it's in all of them. I've
Oh,
seen
okay.
like I've read I think I've read up to I haven't read any of the Goosebumps 2000 books,
Mm-hmm.
but I know it was in Revenge of the Living Dummy, which was the first in the Horrorland series. That freaking plot point is in that book too. Should we take you to a doctor because you're saying that the dummy is alive? I was like, oh. Anyways, the stuff that Slappy does in this book is nowhere near as bad as what Mr. Wood did in the first one. All Slappy really does in this book is he grabs a hold of a little girl's hand at a birthday party.
Mm-hmm.
She's like 3, and because she wants to shake hands with them, and he like grabs her hand and won't let go. And then she gets blamed, and then Amy ends up getting blamed for that
Yeah.
because they think that she's the one controlling his dummy. And then her sister's paintings keep getting ruined. Once not by Slappy, by her brother Jed.
Yeah, that was Jed because he just did like a R or did something on the bottom.
Like, I don't know.
He wrote on the wall. Yeah, he was really attacking the sister. Her paintings, her wall.
Mm-hmm.
Because he wrote in red, they had to use 2 coats of paint to paint over it. Yeah, because he wrote Amy all over the wall.
Yeah. I wasn't nearly as invested in this one as I was in the first book.
I wasn't either.
I was just kind of like, it's okay. I don't know. Nothing about it really stood out to me. It just felt like another Night of the Living Dummy book. And for some reason, like Slappy has the same goal in mind whenever he becomes like, he wants to enslave his new owners, like in every other book. It's like, why though? Like, what is your end game with doing this? Like, if you actually will listen to you, which they rarely do, you enslave them, then what are you gonna do? I mean, you're still a dummy, so
yeah.
Also, I was kind of thinking of a theory I had with these books. I don't think the Slappy in the sequels, I don't think it's the same dummy as the first. The same one as, yeah. Because according to Slappy's origin story, it's so, I don't know, it's like inconsistent because Stein writes it as like one story or one origin being Slappy was built by a cursed coffin, and another says that an evil wizard like built him, and he has like his soul put inside of him. So like, well, which is it? But my theory is this so-called like evil wizard, he must have made like several versions of Slappy. So it wasn't just one, because Slappy always ends up getting destroyed at the end of every like Night of the Living Dummy book, or something happens to him to where he like or like he falls apart. And so maybe and like Bride of the Living Dummy, they even said that Slappy has a soul and like a spirit.
Okay.
So maybe the soul of Slappy like travels to like different dummies' bodies, and then he just waits in silence until a new family comes and like brings him into their house.
Okay. Or
So it's kind of
like a Horcrux situation where the soul is split
yeah,
into different dummies.
or like how Chucky can put like his spirit into
Right.
different dolls' bodies.
Different dolls. Yep.
I just think that's more interesting than the plot of this one.
Yeah, I don't know. Once, like the Night of the Living Dummy, since it's the first one, you don't really know if the doll is alive or not. And
Mm-hmm.
then when you get to this one, the mystery is kind of gone at that point.
Yeah,
And if the plot is not grabbing you, or if the stakes are not high, it's just kind of, I don't know. It's like we've already seen this story once. I
yeah,
want to see something a little different.
yeah. It's like a been there, done that kind of story. Because
Yeah.
we already know, like, if like fans know who, when we read like the original, we know how that story ends with Slappy coming to life.
Mm-hmm.
So we know that Slappy's going to come to life in this one, and like further sequels going forward, we all know it's going to be Slappy doing all those things. It's just a rinse and repeat.
Yeah, I think I just wanted a little more, like, besides just another dummy stalking a different family
Yeah,
and ending kind of the same. Like, yeah, like I said, I read it today. I mainly skimmed over it just to get the gist of it.
I don't really blame you. It's I don't like saying this about a Slappy book, but I just think it's kind of forgettable.
Yeah, it really is. Because like I couldn't really remember a lot of details except there was three kids and like Amy was the middle one and her sister's older and it's kind of like the straight A golden child that paints and plays like
Yeah,
musical instruments and she's kind of, average. She's not getting A's on her report card. And her brother, I don't even know what his thing was. He's just a younger brother.
yeah, he doesn't have much of a character.
Yeah, I was like, I don't really know what his special thing was on family share night.
And the parents are just kind of they're just kind of stock.
Yeah,
I'm trying to remember what did the mom do for her career?
I don't know what either one of them did.
I just I don't know why like Stein put all these like I guess they're like fat phobic comments in like these books because she said that the mother was trying to lose weight and like Slappy was commenting and calling her fat or like don't break the
Oh
couch or all
yeah,
that.
yeah.
I was like, it's not really like clever writing. It's just like, oh, saying you're fat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. The ending was just kind of the ending just kind of came and went. Like
Mm-hmm.
all they were really trying to do was trying to prove to their mom to the parents that Slappy was alive and doing all this stuff. So they had Jed dressed up as her dummy Dennis, and he was gonna come into the room and just like tackle Slappy. And some figure did that, but then they find out that Jed was still sleeping in his
He
costume.
fell
He
asleep.
fell asleep and missed it. Like, aw. And they were like, well, who fought Slappy then? I'm just like, really?
That's what happened in the first
Really?
one. Like, oh, I'm glad that other dummy's gone and Mr. Wood's gone and Slappy's there. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like, I don't know. It's
Yeah, I was like, I gave this one a 2.5. It was fine. It was in the middle. Like I said, I didn't hate it. I've seen it before, and it was just very forgettable. Nothing stood out, and it wasn't entertaining. Like
Oh no.
nothing in it really made me laugh either. So I was really struggling finishing reading it today.
I was reading it along with the audiobook. So
Hmm.
that kind of made it more, I guess, entertaining.
Yeah,
But I think if I was reading it on my own like you, I think I wouldn't really remember anything about it.
I know. I really couldn't, especially after the other ones. I was like, yeah, that one didn't really stand out to me. It's not the worst one of his. Like I said, I didn't dislike it, but it was just fine, boring, just
Mm,
not for me. I would, if I'm going to read The Night of the Living Dummy, I'm going to read the first one
yeah,
over the second one.
I would even I would even read like Revenge of the Living Dummy over this one because
Hmm.
at least that one has some a little more creep factor to that
Yeah.
story than this one did. I can't
Even the
remember.
third one, and I know there's a Night of the Living Dummy 3, and it's
Yeah,
multiple dummies and an addict.
yeah.
I feel like there was more shenanigans in that one.
I don't know. I don't know how Slappy got a whole series surrounding him.
I know.
It's
I
like,
think he just got super popular.
oh
Even in
no,
the new remakes, he was like one of the main villains in the first rebooted
yeah.
Goosebumps.
They always they never got his like appearance right. Like in the like OG series, Slappy is described as like he wears the suit obviously, but his eyes
Hmm.
are blue.
Yeah.
In the show and the movie, his eyes are either green or brown.
Yeah. They're
I'm
not
just
those
like
piercing blue like you would see them at night looking at you.
I was like, well, I don't understand that. Like, why can't you just get his eye color right?
Yeah.
It's hard to picture anything else besides the uh, dummy from the show when reading these books, anyways.
Yeah. I
Because
did
that's
like that one in the show though.
yeah,
He was pretty fun.
he was certainly scarier than the one in the movie, in my opinion.
Yeah. Hmm.
They made him look too much like Jack Black.
Yeah.
Just like so. Yeah, I gave this book a 2 stars as well.
Okay.
It's it's fine.
Yeah. I was like, it's for someone. It's not for me. Like I said, if I'm gonna read, I would rather read the original.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right. So, how would you rank these from favorite to least favorite?
Okay. From favorite to least favorite, favorite would be Cuckoo Clock of Doom. Rated that one a 5 stars. And then I would go Night in Terror Tower at a 4. And then it came from Beneath the Sink, third for 3 stars. Monster Blood 3 for 3 stars. And then Night of the Living Dummy 2 for 2.5. How about you?
Okay, so favorite to least favorite, I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna go Night in Terror Tower is my
Tower
top
first.
favorite.
Okay.
Love this book. Next would be the Cuckoo Clock of Doom.
Mm-hmm.
Um, third would be It Came from Beneath the Sink. Number 2 would be Night of the Living Dummy 2.
Okay.
And my least favorite is Monster Blood 3.
Monster Blood 3.
I think these three these two have left like the least impact upon this reread.
Yeah, I know. Monster Boat 3, I gave it the slight edge just because it was a little funny to me. Like, and just overly ridiculous. At least it was somewhat entertaining. Night of the Living Dummy 2, like I said. If you're boring and I can't remember and it was a struggle to get through, I'll have to put you last, sir.
What's interesting about some of the episodes or adaptations is some of the stars that came from it or the
Hmm.
series. Like obviously, probably the biggest one and most well recognizable face was Ryan Gosling,
Yeah.
who was in Say Cheese and Die.
Yeah.
Um, but there was a couple of other notable ones, like for instance, Katrina in the episode was played by Catherine Isabel.
Yep.
Yep, she was in Ginger Snaps, Freddy vs. Jason.
Hmm.
Um, Brendan Fletcher, who played Mark in Freddy vs. Jason, he was Will Grady. I think his name was Will Grady in Werewolf in Fever Swamp.
Yeah. Okay.
Another fan favorite.
Hmm.
And a guy who played I can't remember his name, but the guy who played shit. Oh, what was his name? It was just Freeberg. It was Freeberg and Freddy vs. Jason. He played Evan in Monster Blood and More Monster Blood.
Yeah. I was gonna say, I know it was a lot of Canadian actors because it was a Canadian show.
Mm-hmm. But still pretty cool to see how
It's cool.
the careers got started.
Hmm.
And there was also Hayden Christensen, who was in Night of Living Dummy 3. We all know him as like
Yeah, he was.
Anakin.
Yep. That looks like Nev Campbell. She was in an episode of Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Mm.
The Tale of the Dangerous Soup. She did really good in that one. She worked. It was in a restaurant, and yeah, she was in that.
Wow. I didn't know. I didn't know that. I didn't.
Hmm.
I watched. I watched Are You Afraid of the Dark alongside Goosebumps, but I didn't. I don't remember a lot of the episodes as much.
Yeah, I don't remember. It's been a while since I've watched them. But yeah, a lot of people, a lot of good child actors that were in those. So
I think it's cool though. They just see where they got their start at.
hmm.
So we've been talking for almost 3 hours because there was that little glitch.
Little break there.
Yeah, unplanned little break. Um, I've been sharing this stream out like crazy. I don't, but nobody came into the chat to say hi or anything.
Yeah, I was gonna say
It's been pretty quiet.
it has. That's
It's
all
a,
right. I was like, I don't know, if it's the new channel or
yeah,
what.
yeah. I've been pushing this like channel. I've been telling people that are still like Brandon and Heather. We're just like a book channel now, but I made a second channel just to do more of my personal uh, live streams and stuff. So
Right.
people know me from that. But yeah, I just wanted to start like a book centric channel with you since you love
Hmm.
reading as much as I do. Kind of like
Yeah.
Gory and Kayla do with
Uh-huh.
on their channel. Well, people will find our channel eventually and they'll
Oh
start
yeah.
watching us. We're starting out. We're still a small channel and we'll eventually get there.
For sure.
So yeah, any closing thoughts on Goosebumps before we end the stream?
No, I think that's it. Try to finish this summer. the rest of the series. That's one of my reading goals is definitely finish that series. So
Yeah, I think I'm going to take my time rereading this series because there's only 62 books and there's only like
mhm.
the OG series, and
Right.
that series in particular was always special to me. So I think I'm just going to take my time and like rereading it because I
Yeah.
just want to like it's like revisiting an old friend.
Mhm.
So yeah, if you guys are watching the replay, uh, let me know. Let us know what you guys think of Goosebumps. Did you grow up with it, or is it something that kind of just was a little bit past your time, or just overall thoughts on the stream? Sorry again about like the little glitch. Like it was my fault. I will remember next time to keep my computer charged.
Yeah.
So
That's all right.
um I'm Brandon the Beldam,
I'm Horrorhead Heather.
and next month, guys, next month
Mhm.
we will be going to Panem
Mhm.
in our revisit, or I should say, my revisit of the first Hunger Games, because Heather here hasn't read the books.
I have not. I've seen all the movies. I've seen all the movies multiple times, but I've not read the book. So that's exciting.
It's really exciting. It's been a
Yeah, because
long.
I love the movies. So if the books are anything like the movies, I know I'll have a great time.
I'm pretty sure you will really love the books, Heather.
Hmm.
So if you guys want to check us out next month, we'll probably be doing a stream. She's already sent me the info, but I'll let you know when the stream will be up.
Yeah.
So, anyways, guys, you guys have a good night, and we'll see you soon in the new
Yeah.
video. Bye.
Bye.